Scotland shows its gentle side here. People play by their own rules. The climate is also out of line. The Gulf Stream almost provides comfort. The Inner Hebrides, 79 islands off the west coast of Scotland. The beaches are white, the water turquoise. Who would have imagined that in Scotland? Almost half of the Inner Hebrides are inhabited. Here you have a lot of space and time. A place for people for whom the Scottish mainland is still too hectic. Eastdale Island is also a different world. The mini-island is made of slate. There are 2 disused quarries in the south. The ideal place for stone skimming. The first World Championship took place here in 1997. Once a year, the international stone skimming professionals meet here. The reigning senior world champion, Ron Long, from Wales, arrived the day before the competition to train a little more.
No. Yes, of course it's a sport. Look, everything is a game and a sport. Yeah, you've got a child, you play football in the back garden, that's a game. Yeah, at Wembley, it's a sport. That's the difference, whether you're taking it seriously or not. But as a competitive sport, stone skimming, because it's an individual sport, is probably one of the most competitive sports in the world. I mean, you don't even need 2 people to have a competition. You compete against yourself. Yeah, which every time I throw a stone, I'm competing against myself. I'm trying to be better than the last one. Yeah.
Almost all 60 residents of Eastdale volunteered to help organise the World Cup. Donald Melville, known as Mullen, distributes the tasks.
I think some of you will be stewarding as well at some point. If you just try and remind people to step away from the edges, you know, just keep them...
Don't push them.
Unless you're married to them.
There is no international set of rules for stone skimming. Eastdale's competition is consistently tailored to local conditions.
Cordoned off. Okay. The Eastdale rules are quite particular. Because we have a limited length of water, people do hit the back wall, so they go into a 3-stone toss-off at the end for overall champion. So any category, if anybody hits the back wall, they come back at the end of the competition to see who the overall champion is.
First, Mellon marks the boundaries of the throwing path with ropes and buoys. Most important rules, all stones must remain in the track and be chipped at least twice. Otherwise, it would only be stone throwing.
We also have access to the perfect skimming stones, which is why the World Championship started here, because it had we have the arena, but we also have the perfect skimmer stones. The slate that the island is made mostly of splits very nicely, and it's a soft stone, so it rounds and just gives the perfect sort of skimming stones.
Perfect stones, perfect arena, perfect organisation.
I know, I've probably told you that, but you've been smoking.
Protected in the north by the Outer Hebrides, the Inner Hebrides nestle on the Scottish Atlantic coast, from Skye in the north to Islay in the south. Not even 20,000 people are spread over the archipelago. The island of Tiree is the furthest from the mainland. It is considered the sunniest place in Great Britain. On such a remote island, almost everything is used. The discarded telephone box becomes a vegetable stand. The broken microwave oven, a letterbox. Despite its remoteness, Tiree has been inhabited for about 7,000 years. One reason for this are the huge kelp forests surrounding the island. With seaweed as fertilizer, simply everything grows in the otherwise rather barren soil. This is why Tiree is also called Island of Two Harvests. Alistair MacLean, called Billy, and his wife Carol are crofter farmers here. The fertilizer for her potato field has been freshly washed up on Tiree.
Usually after a big storm you get a good load of it, gets washed ashore. So really on the lookout any time now, so the earlier the better, while you get the day long.
Billy does everything exactly as it has been done in his family for generations.
They always used to say never put seaweed on the ground the year you're going to plant it, which means that you put it on at this time of the year, ready for working with it next year. So that's always told anyway. So yeah, when it's there, make use of it. Yeah. It's free.
It's the same with a lot of things on the island. You make use of what you've got. So the seaweed's here, so you make use of it.
Other crofters on Tiree now use industrial fertilizer. Billy isn't a fan of that.
In a space of 20 years, to keep fertilising an area of ground, and you stop for 1 year, nothing will grow on that ground. It's more or less solely dependent on the fertiliser. You know, this stuff puts it into the ground, and nothing comes out of the ground, apart from the produce, of course.
Skye in the far north of the Inner Hebrides. Since 1982, a very special ferry has been commuting between the island and the mainland. Isabel Law has been the captain for just over a year. The 22-year-old island girl knows the boat inside and out. Even as a child, it was her favourite place.
I came back down day after day during the summer holidays, and then it just went from there. So when I was 16, I started getting paid for what I was doing. And then when I was 18, I started training to be skipper. And then last year, when I was 21, I passed my skipper's ticket. When I was 10, I just started helping out on board, just doing bits and bobs. But I'm going to have to go over the other wheel again.
The Glenachulish is operated and maintained on a non-profit basis. It provides jobs in this remote area. A bridge has long been a quicker way to get to Skye, but many still prefer to take the old ferry.
It is us, so it's all manually powered, yeah. So it's the last manual turntable ferry left in the world. Yes. Big muscles over the summer.
Ferries with such a turntable construction are especially useful when, as here, the pier is angled and the water is shallow. In the past, a large number of these boats were sailing in Scottish waters. Issy, as Isabel is called by everyone, knows many of the passengers personally. A few school friends who live abroad are here for a visit. The crossing is short, but quite treacherous.
So at the moment it's an ebb tide, so it's going out, so we have to go all the way up, and then the tide brings us down. So we work with the tide all the time. So I'm going to go over this wheel now. Oh, nice. How did you get it out? There's a very strong current here, so it's one of the strongest in Britain. So there's always a challenge of the current, and then there's the winds, the weather, other shipping coming through, and then there's rocks, so lots of obstacles as well. So there's so many things going on, and then there's the passengers. There's lots of things happening, so it can be quite tricky.
At 1 o'clock, they'll have lunch. The passengers already know this and wait patiently. Mara TV was here before, when many years ago the ferry captain was still an old shellback named Q.
I think something like 7 years ago, you were here before, and I was working as the deckhand then, and Q was the skipper. And we're having a coffee break, and as Q was having his cup of coffee, he said, this ferry runs on 3 things: coffee, diesel and cake. We had people very generously bringing cake from Germany once they'd seen your programme, and they brought it back here and gave it to us on the ferry when they knew they were going to be coming over. And so at one stage we had the whole wheelhouse was full of cake stands all the way along, and we were completely full of cake.
Is it? Oh.
The former deckhand Callum now also has the captain's license. He'll take the wheel when Issy cashes in.
Perfect.
And good value at that.
Perfect. Thank you very much. You are welcome out the car if you want as well. Oh, okay. It's quite unusual for people my age kind of to stay around. Usually they go off to university and then maybe come back later in life. So it's amazing that I've found somewhere so close to home and that I can stay here for at least 6 months of the year with this work. So it's amazing to have something so close to home.
Eastdale is the smallest inhabited island in the Inner Hebrides. In the past, about 500 stone carvers lived and worked here. The entire island was factory grounds, and so almost everything on Eastdale is built of slate. The preparations for the Stone Skimming World Championship are progressing. On Eastdale, almost everything is transported by wheelbarrow or e-mobile. Volunteers, the food and whatever else is important for the World Championship tomorrow will come over by ferry. Ron Long, the Welsh senior champion, is still training.
The world record for a skim stone is 122 metres. The world record for a javelin is only 96 metres. All the javelin has to contend with is air resistance. The stone has to contend with striking the water and slowing down every time it hits it. So, the top stone skimmer has more power, more technique than the top javelin throwers. And one day it will be recognised as an international sport.
On the beach, the skimming stones are collected. Maximum diameter, 3 inches. Mellon and his future daughter-in-law, Lorne, soon have their buckets filled.
I'm trying to find stones that have...
Bits to get your finger around to get the spin on them, yeah.
For the World Cup, quite a lot of stones have to come together.
1,050 at least, because 350 people, 3 throws, and we need to have at least that. So we never actually count them. We know that 5 or 6 buckets is usually enough. It just depends on the size of the stones that get put in. Okay.
That's about 12 there.
Excellent, okay. Yep, perfect.
I think that first one's too big.
In the competition, each player only has 3 throws.
With 350 people to get through, it takes quite a while, and we just need to get it sorted, try and get through as quickly and smoothly as possible to get it done within the time and get everybody off the island before the ferry finishes as well.
The participants and spectators are approaching. Crowds at the registration desk. The Swedish team is in blue and yellow, and they're the Welsh favourite with his biggest rival, the Scottish champion.
This is Alex Lewis. He's won. Yeah, in the start of the year, first the Welsh, then the British, then the Swiss, then the English. So yeah, this will be the 5th and the Grand Slam for him. Yeah, and we all wish him well, but not that well.
So there are lots of people that take some completely ridiculous sports very seriously, like, you know, horse dancing. I mean, that's made it into the Olympics. I mean, how ridiculous. How many people do that? About 1,000, and all of them are millionaires, whereas stone skimming, everyone does it. Everyone does it.
A pencil?
The World Cup is about to start. The atmosphere is already exuberant. Here, far out in the Atlantic Ocean on Tiree, the atmosphere is, as almost always, very, very quiet. At breakfast, Alistair MacLean, that is Billy, and his wife Carol discuss their daily workload. They're going to spread the kelp, and they have another job tonight.
Oh, we have to go to a party tonight.
Oh, right, OK, that's good.
Yeah, but it's a working party for us.
Working?
Yeah.
There's never anything other, is there?
They're looking for music.
Carol is from England. This fact has saved her from a very typical island quirk.
You need to do something silly or behave in a certain way, and all of a sudden you'll get a nickname and it'll stick with you. Alistair, or Alexander, when we were younger, was known as Billy the Box. His father called him Billy, and nobody knows why, because Billy is not short for Alistair. So Billy the Box because he plays the accordion, and the box is the short name for the accordion.
I remember somebody phoning my mother up before when I used to do quite a bit of JCB work, and he was so polite that he asked, "Is Alistair around?" "Oh," she says, "I think you must have the wrong number." "Well," he says, "is Billy around?" "Yes, of course Billy's around." So hold on and I'll go and get him. But she didn't even associate me as being, you know, Billy, as being Alistair.
The weather is expected to change soon. Before the storm, they have to spread the collected kelp in the field.
So it does need an awful lot of seaweed on it. Just a sprinkling. And that'll be left to... I'll leave that for a month or so, plough it over and forget about it until spring of next year.
Such a croft is actually a small farm just for self-sufficiency. But thanks to the seaweed fertilization, Billy often has more potatoes than he can eat. And Billy can eat many potatoes.
A lot of it goes to the mainland, to friends and family on the mainland that don't actually have the opportunity to grow their own stuff, so... But it's mostly for my own, for our own use.
After field work, Billy the Box becomes Billy the Post. He's also the island postman. The first letters today are for the former island doctor, John Holiday. John brought his nickname to the island 33 years ago. Doc Holiday.
Yes, but it's a bad forecast for tomorrow.
Ah, it is, it's not good.
So, bring me seaweed. That's my job for tomorrow. So
that's good.
You're more than welcome to come up and help yourself.
That's grand.
I should have loads for it.
I'll do that, thanks a lot.
Okay, dokie, John.
See you,
cheers now.
Yeah.
Now retired, Doc Holiday has become an island historian. Every little bay is an exciting history book for him, telling of more than thousands of years of island life. What looks like a hill today is one of the oldest buildings on Tiree.
This is an Iron Age fort, so this was built over 2,000 years ago. This fort gave the name to this farm, the Viking farm. The Norse word for a fort is borg, and the name of this farm was Borgargerði, which is the farm of the fort. And that's the name that we still know it as today.
At the end of the 18th century, Great Britain was once again at war with Spain. Until then, the main supplier of kelp ash, which was used as a bleaching agent as well as for soap and glass production. Because of the huge seaweed forests right off the coast, Tiree then experienced a kelp boom.
So this is a kelp kiln. It was built around 1800. It would have been probably about this high. The stones were put together and they were cemented with wet seaweed, so they would be airtight. And the dried kelp was put in the middle here.
And the price of this went up from £2 a tonne to £20 a tonne. We call it brown gold. The population increased more here than anywhere else in Scotland because there is so much seaweed around here. The seas around Tiree are very shallow, and the kelp forests of seaweed are very rich. They're richer than anywhere else in Scotland.
Doc Holiday needs some flute practice now for tonight's show with Billy. Even though Oban is on the mainland, it is the unofficial capital of the Hebrides, as most ferries to the islands depart from here. Right next to the ferry terminal is one of the most famous fishing cottages in Scotland, the Green Shack. Simple, fresh and inexpensive seafood. Unfortunately, the seagulls know that too.
It's mine.
40 years ago, a fisherman started to sell his fresh crabs here. One of the first customers was a famous restaurant critic, and his review read, "Britain's best crab rolls. The secret? Location, location, location."
It's fantastic. If you run out of oysters and our mussels are from Mull, and if you run out from one area, pick up the phone within about 58 minutes or something like that, less than an hour, there a new supply's in. It's very good.
The reputation of the Green Shack has spread as far as Asia. The small hut is in all travel guides there.
My mum quite satisfied. Looks so satisfied.
Daddy also.
My dad also.
From Oban, it takes 4 hours to Tiree by ferry. Luckily, the internet on the island works very well. This enabled a new, very special connection to the mainland. Kyle Good is on his way to class. Kyle is participating in a school trial that has just started.
I'm going to my first class business studies. My teacher's not here, but that's not a problem.
Kyle's classmates are about 90 kilometers away, in Oban. And there also is Kyle's teacher, Damien Heaney.
What are you lot up to? Hey, in. Into class, where you go? Come on. Basically, this classroom has been set up so that we can make sure that the pupils out in Tiree and in any of the other islands can access education.
The high-tech school in Oban was inaugurated only a year ago. And since then, the virtual connection with Tiree has been established.
What we have is we basically are going to access the classroom in Tiree. We've got a camera up the back, okay, and we'll be able to see. I'll just click on the link here. And then what you'll see is I can see the classroom in Tiree.
Morning, Mr. Heaney.
Good morning.
You hear and see us okay?
First, Damien and the technician on Tiree checked the line.
All the cameras in the room are camera 1, which is the full pan, camera 2, which takes you down and onto the board. I'll clear that off. Camera 3, which is where I'm really dancing around the front, and that should be us.
Kyle is the last in class today, and also the first. He's the only one. At his classmates over in Oban, it's crowded. The headmaster of Oban also is the head on Tiree. Everything that's on the curriculum here, in Oban, should also be offered on the island. In the past, the island children had to stay on the mainland overnight and could only go home every second weekend.
Morning, Kyle. Morning. Good man. So it's only you today, is it? Okay. Right, okay. Just let me know once you've been able to access the slides.
Yeah, I'm on it now.
Understand the business topic 1.5, yeah? Right, how many people here have bought something off of Amazon in the last 2 weeks? Right, so the majority of you bought something off of Amazon. Yeah, Kyle, good man.
The virtual lessons work well, but Damien has also been to Tiree several times for personal contact.
And that's especially important to us up here and out on the islands for Kyle and all these sorts of things. Right, Kyle, basically, what else do you think will give us one more about economic?
Internet access.
Right, and how basically, what kind of things have changed for you out in Tiree?
Well, you can order stuff online without having to leave the island.
So I'll give you a couple of minutes and make sure you write some stuff down in your jotter so you can see Kyle there, okay? Right, good on you. On you go.
Even working groups are possible with this system. Damien can handle the correspondence students just as well as the ones in Oban.
I can basically see how he's doing, I can see his mood, and then what I can do is if there's anything I'm worried about or concerned about, across in Tiree, we can start a discussion and maybe put something in place to make sure that he is feeling well, he's in good form. And we have a duty of care to all the young people in a duty of care to look after them. And that's why we go into teaching in the first place. So that was good today, thank you. Right, Kyle, right, listen, take care, and I'll speak to you tomorrow, all right? Right, OK, good lad. See you later. Right, bye.
Distance learning is entirely to Kyle's taste. Oban would be way too hectic for him.
But there are a few people that are going over to Oban for the classes. I decided not to do that because I'd rather stay here.
On the island of Canna, a little north of Tiree, less than 20 people live. But only recently, there were 16,000 rabbits here, an actual plague. The company Evergreen Rabbit Control was assigned to get the problem under control, with the help of ferrets. The job isn't quite finished yet, so Craig Martin goes on the hunt with his quick-witted colleagues.
No, they're natural. They know what they're doing. The only thing you have to do is handle them a lot, so they're friendly. Otherwise, they have a tendency to be a bit nippy. Is what most people think of ferrets, anyway.
Craig prefers albino ferrets. They're easier to find in the undergrowth after the hunt. A tracking device is attached to the collar.
It's just when they're underground, they sort of back up or anything. You have a box on top, and it sort of beeps when you're above them. It's got numbers on top. It just tells you how deep they are, 'cause you have to dig them out sometimes. It's just a lot quicker than waiting for them.
Craig's assignment here was only supposed to last 3 months. After 6 years, he's still here. The Englishman became Hebridean long ago. His bosses, Ed and Nathan Cook, have just arrived from southern England. Canna is the biggest challenge in the company's history so far. The fight against the rabbits is a Sisyphean task. When the men first came to the island, it was literally eaten bare. No more grass. The rabbits even ate the seaweed.
There was a serious amount of rabbits. I've never seen so many anywhere. But I'm trying to think, it'll be 6 years in January, and it's 23, nearly 4,000 we've taken off so far. So and there's still probably a good few thousand here. But like I say, they do eat a lot of grass. Like 7 rabbits to 1 sheep apparently.
First, Finn, the border collie crossbreed, has to track down a rabbit.
Yeah, she's circling those holes, so there should be something there. There's certainly some scent there. Should we try the ferret?
Oh, yeah, let's give it a go. The dog's marking there's a rabbit in the hole, so you put the ferret in and then he'll chase it out. Hopefully the dog will catch it.
The ferret rushes through the whole den and drives all rabbits outside.
No, he sort of tends to come out, but they're not, once they're out, they sort of just bumble about, they're never in sort of a rush once they're out.
Finn usually retrieves them alive. The best rabbit dog Evergreen Rabbit Control ever had.
A lot of it's natural, but most of it, your training is just a general obedience. So we breed them for this job. Well, she was bred for the island anyway.
There are hardly any customers for rabbit game in Great Britain. It's sold to French grocers.
Yeah, I thought it went round the corner.
Try it, and then we'll work our way back. If she marks another hole, we'll do it anyway.
When the rabbit hunters started work here, the island was in a pitiful state.
Well, the main one was the grazing. They were struggling. There wasn't enough grass for the animals to winter on. And also the landslides above the road were caused by the rabbits, and well, it's the only track to get here, so they couldn't get it down here for the animals. And also up when they're fixing a stone wall over there, because they undermine all the stone walls and then they collapse. Maybe more rabbits anyway. We'll get some more.
Today, the 3 didn't catch much. That's a very good sign.
After 6 years of chasing them around, there should be slightly few. But
After the hunt, everyone meets at Café Canna for dinner. Craig also works as a fisherman, so almost everything on the menu, from rabbit to seafood, was caught by him.
Thank you very much.
Cheers.
Thank you. So we've got mackerel wrapped in sea lettuce, a razor clam with dulse, rabbit croquette, dulse and kelp potato cake with a dulse crisp sticking out the top.
Sounds good.
Enjoy.
That's lovely.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Haute cuisine on the island of 20. Craig never wants to leave again.
It's going to be an awkward question. We can't know ourselves, is it? Yeah, I don't know. I just sort of enjoyed being here for the 3 months. I just quite like living on the island. And obviously I met my missus here as well, so that kind of helped a lot. No, just even smile.
Friday night at Tiree. There's always a party somewhere on the weekend.
Oh, well, look at the time. Time we're going.
Oh, well, I'll pack the accordion away.
Billy the Box and his wife Carol are supposed to play music tonight.
Bye, doggies.
Bye, doggies.
The only pub on the island is in Scarnish, next to the ferry port. Island historian John Holliday is joining the band tonight.
So there's the box. There's the box. It's got a lot to answer for, this box.
When he was still in practice, Doc Holliday wouldn't have set foot in here.
I've not been in here very often. I've lived here for 33 years. I've been in here a handful of times. It's always difficult for the local doctor to come into the pub, and so it's a special occasion tonight, so I'm here.
No time to waste. Off we go in style with Scotland the Brave. With the accordion, bagpipes are only for outdoors. As befits a pub in the British Isles, it is a place for everyone, young and old, men and women. In summer, many visitors come to the islands. And between the islands too. Basking sharks, the second largest sharks in the world, then plough through the waters between Canna and Tiree to catch plankton, quite peacefully. On Eastdale Island, it's finally happening. The Stone Skimming Championship is about to begin. It's springtide. That's never happened on a competition day before.
I was up at 5 o'clock because at 6:30 last night, the tide was rather high and was up over the throwing platform, completely underwater. You can see the water coming out here, and it should be dropped down by then. We're looking for a pallet for people to walk across onto it.
The first visitors gather around the flooded quarry. Most of the spectators are also participants. Stone skimming is a very democratic sport. Ron and Alex are already there.
Thank you very much for coming along. Braving the elements, because I think there might be a wee bit of rain, but I'm sure we'll not dissolve. We're going to kick off with the under 10 girls, first of all, in a wee sec.
After the boys and girls, it's ladies' time. Everything is meticulously recorded. Not every participant takes stone skimming as seriously as one should. The Swedes are quickly eliminated. Alex is quite happy with the weather conditions.
You know, you don't want side wind, and oh, sorry, I'm just watching the skimming as well. Yeah, you don't want side wind. Slightly breezy, that's good.
Ron Long, all the way from Wales.
Check with the linesman.
What was the first one, guys?
Ron can keep going.
There's going to be quite a few, I think. Yeah, I think there's probably at least half a dozen already. 6 have already got back walls. So it should be interesting. And some of the best skimmers are still to throw. So probably another couple of hours before that. So I think I'll have a little sleep. A little lie down and a sleep. Yes.
Alex has hit the back wall twice. Is this the perfect first round? His final throw. What does the linesman say? That's it. 3 to the wall.
Actually, yeah, that's a good point. I'm in the lead. Yeah, I guess I am. Yeah, true, but just who knows what will happen, you know?
11 people in the toss-off. Now we've got the tide to beat and the ferry, so we really need to sort of get our skates on here.
It's Ron's turn again. Did the nap help? Not bad. Alex got new stones. Some finalists get nervous. Alex's first throw ended outside the track. Now he has to get to the wall. Otherwise, it's all over. He's still in the competition. But then, suddenly the reigning world champion wins. 3 walls. The title gets back to Hungary. A landlocked country of all places.
Probably 4th. Yeah. 3 back walls wins it, obviously. Yeah.
I got 3 back walls, but the first one went out, so count as a 0. So that's it. Yeah, a bit disappointed actually, but I have done. That means I've got 5 back walls in total of the 2 rounds, which has never ever been done before in the competition, ever. So I'm pretty pleased with that.
Mellon already has a tricky plan how he might make it to the finals himself sometime this year.
We're going to wait till it all builds up high enough and then we can just scoop them out by hand. We'll not dive for them.
Next year they will be throwing the stones here again. One of many good reasons to visit the Inner Hebrides, Scotland's mild west.
Okay, now!